Okay, this is the first harness repaired. Yeah, I took the easy route first, or if you're an American, I took the easy route first to repair this harness. Those wires fortunately weren't damaged, and this I think I will include in the Jaguar history file so that people can look at it and go, oh my God, and other words that are unrepeatable. Certainly words that Jay Leno wouldn't say, like it's visceral and nicely done. Oh God, yes, if he looked at this and I told him what happened, I'm sure he would say, oh, nicely done, Gary, asshole. All right, let's get on with the rest of it. Isn't that pretty? Yeah, that's the harness. I've pulled it back from the engine bay. Dingly dangling down there. I've got a lot more wires to disconnect here. The bullet connectors don't want to come out. What a surprise. You Americans that complain about Lucas and call it the Prince of, the Prince of Hiccups, the Prince of Darkness, you haven't met the bullet connectors properly. These fuckers don't want to let go. Gosh, that's not a bad connection. That's a fucking tight connection. Good and tight. Right. I've ordered a kit of 200 pieces from Amazon of male and female bullet connectors. I'm assuming 100 of each. I may or may not need them. We will see. I've got to strip this harness out fully, and that includes the dash area right across to the passenger side. Yeah, a lot of shit, guys. A lot of shit. Let's get on with it. Well, it appears I've got to take the main harness out. Now, I can't tell you whether I've mentioned this before in previous videos because I was so frustrated. However, I'm telling you now. So, the main wiring harness has to come out. The main wiring harness is a pain in the fucking ass. Simply, it goes behind the dash, goes in front of the dash, or rather across the firewall here, into the fuse box over there. It also feeds the wiper motor down here, and everything underneath the dash, in the dash, round the dash, up your dash. So I have no choice but to take it out. It is going to be days and days and days of work and frustration and connectors breaking and everything. You can tell I'm really looking forward to this. So, I'll video a lot. You may not see everything I video. And there will be lots of fast forward stuff. Because a little while of watching me curse and swear and undo wires is only minimal entertainment. So let's get on with it. Alright, let's take this fuse box cover off and have a look in here. Oh my God. Let's see what we got. Well, a lot of these aren't connected because I don't use this voltage regulator because I put an alternator on. I'm seriously considering putting a different type of fuse block in, and lots of different fuses. There's so many wires here. I'm not sure about what wire should go to what. Yeah. And by that I mean, okay, I have 1, 2, 3 whites on this side and probably 6 greens on this side. And I don't know how to pair them up. Or does it really matter? I guess that's the question. Does it really matter? I've got all the greens together. So I could split them up evenly, I suppose. 2 greens here to 1 white there, something along those lines. And a fuse in between. Now the fuse that's in there is probably the 35 amp fuse. Yeah, oh crap. So I would need, I can leave this purple with the brown. Those would be fine to leave with this one fuse, and I think that's a 50 amp fuse. I'm saying I think because I'd have to pop it out to find out, and I'm not doing that right now. I mean, it's upside down and I can't read it. That's if I decide to replace this fuse block. As I said, so I don't use those. There's a loop, steel loop there. That sends that feed to this relay. I'm not sure what that relay is for, to be honest with you. No, I really don't know. It feeds something. Yeah, really helpful, Gary. Oh boy. But the main harness is here, down there, around there, and over and through that fucking hole over there. And then the harness goes down and through to some, I can't remember where the fuck it goes. Oh my god. Oh, and I've got to undo the nuts to... I'll tell you, this is a real pain in the fucking ass. If I knew which route that black wire takes, which I don't, then I could just strip it back as far as I need to. But I don't know where it goes, so I've got to pull the whole fucking harness out. Ah, bollocks. Well, it's no moaning about it, I suppose. It is a matter of getting on and start ripping shit out. And see how much of it I can... I'm going to take this off. I'm going to take those off. Got to take this out because it's in the way. Start piling shit up on the table. Holy crap, Batman. Ah, dear. Or do I start ripping it out inside? Maybe that's the thing to do. Not worry about this for the moment. Disconnect it inside and pull the harness back out this way. And then maybe I'll get lucky and the black wire doesn't come out here, in which case then I'll just deal with it and feed it back in. That's what I'm going to do. So we'll start on the inside. Sometimes it's worth procrastinating. Okay, this next section of the video, you may wish to fast forward. I will be narrating parts of it, but a lot of it will just be staring at what you're staring at now. My plan here is to disconnect all the wires on this center dash and see how much I can move the wires that I've got to move. At the moment, I'm just getting my ass in there to try and sort things out. As you can see, putting up some lights to help with what I've got to do. Now, I'm still not sure at this point whether or not the harness needs to go from this side into the engine bay or from the engine bay into here. There are so many fucking wires here. It's crazy. Now, there'll be a number of times in here when I pause and don't say anything, and that's purely because I'm just waiting for the next moment to happen. Now, at this moment, I'm disconnecting the clips that hold the harness down because if the harness needs to go through to the engine bay, and I really can't remember which way I did it, I don't want the clips on there. Also, do note, this was a completely brand new harness, and a lot of the connections I'm going to be disconnecting don't want to be disconnected. They are as tight as a duck's arse, and that's watertight. So I'm concerned that I'm going to break the switches, I'm going to break the connections, the wires are going to pull out of the connectors, and that has already happened on the other side, which, well, you can't see at the moment, but a number of the bullet connectors just pulled out, and these were the manufactured ones. But in one respect, I can't blame them because they are so fucking tight to get out. See that one there? Now that's a crimp that I did, but I detest crimp connectors. They're not the best, but unfortunately, that's a lot of what you've got to do these days. Soldering is not always the option. Here I'm just removing the connection. I was never happy with the fact that it was on the voltage stabilizer, because I know that voltage stabilizer kicks out 10 volts, and that should be a switched 12 volt ignition. So I'm going to reconnect that back to somewhere on the ignition switch or the light switch or somewhere where the connection comes alive when you turn the ignition key on, because that's what's required, and that's part of the AC stuff. Let's just take a moment here, pause, so you can look and be amazed at my struggling. Plus, I want to have a sip of my drink. I know that in a lot of my videos you don't see shit I'm doing. I just say, hey, look, I did this. So this is your punishment now. You're going to see me struggling, even if my arms are in the way. Can't help it, they're attached to my body. And I only have one camera position. Yeah, I could have put another camera on my head, but right at the moment, I just want to get on with it. Of course, because we're watching this, it will give me a chance to moan and complain about various things. So do be warned. Yeah, I'm looking at that wire thinking, what the fuck? It took me a moment or two to realize what those wires were, why those two wires were together, although not connected. They're from the oil pressure gauge. It was a feed to the gauge and a feed from the sensor. But I've got I don't know what you call it now. It's got a proper vacuum gauge. Sorry, don't be an idiot. It's got a proper oil pressure gauge on it that works on oil pressure, not electrical signals. So I separated that. Well, I needed to separate it in order to get the harness free. With a lot of these connections, what I'm trying to do is use a screwdriver to give me extra leverage, pulling up the connectors and not break the switches. I did succeed in removing them all. Hopefully the switches aren't broken internally. I got every connection off. But in doing this, of course, a lot of the switches have they've come loose. There is a ring on the front, as you all know, and I've got the special tool to tighten it. But with all this jiggling, piggling, they've come a bit loose. So I'm going to have to make sure I tighten all of them up prior to me putting everything back together. I may well, I haven't decided yet, I may well remove that center dash completely because it is now a separate unit. And that way I can get it on the bench and make sure I get all the switches tight and lined up correctly. That is the decision I have yet to make. But if I do it, you'll see it. Now this is the light switch. It has 1,000,001 connections on it, but I'm taking them off individually and putting the screw back in because I know if I don't, when I come to reassemble it, I'll be one screw short. Story of my life. Those wires were getting in my bloody way, so I just tucked them up there out of the way. Yes, they are part of the harness, and yes, they will have to be moved, pulled either into the engine bay or in this direction. And right at the moment, I'm thinking I need to pull the engine bay harness into the car. Does anyone out there who has done this remember which way they did it? Whether they pushed the harness through from the engine bay side, or did you do it from the interior side and push the harness through to the engine bay? I can't remember what the hell I did. I know it was a fucking struggle and I had to do it bit by bit, but I can't bloody well remember. Maybe I'm going to have to go back and look at my own stupid video. Wouldn't that be annoying? That means I'm going to have to watch myself and get my algorithms up. And that can make your eyes water. So, a bit of peace and quiet for a moment while I continue to disconnect these wires. If I see anything interesting that I remembered, I'll let you know. So, sit back, relax, watch me actually do some work. And as you are all very much aware, I thoroughly enjoy doing things twice. Sagada fragada. There you go. Who said sagada fragada? You've probably got to be old to understand that one, like me. Oh, and you guys that are watching me, if you like engineering type stuff, check out Peter Smith. He is a northern lad, a mere youngster at 76, and he does lots of engineering stuff. He has a milling machine and lathe, and he is fascinating to watch. He doesn't put on stupid music. He doesn't do a lot of inane chat like I do. He just does his stuff and shows you. His engineering expertise, from my point of view, and I think others would agree, is beyond reproach. He is amazing with what he does. Do check out his website. Sorry, not his website, his channel, and subscribe, because he does brilliant stuff. And if you're in his neck of the woods, I believe he does do work for other people, but that is something you would have to check with him. Anyway, Peter Smith is his name. Just type it in. I'll tell you what, I'll put a link to his channel in the description so that you can find it. Right, here you can see I've almost managed to get one side completely loose. And I say loose, that means it's just not attached to the center dash. I think this is where I'm cutting the heat shrink off of the oil pressure gauge. I believe that's what I'm doing. Now I'm going to pause it here for a moment, but I will be back. Don't go away. Okay, looks like I've managed to unpick the oil sender wires, and I've got this harness loose. Inwardly I'm cursing. I'm sorry you can't hear. Well, actually, it's probably a good thing you can't hear what I'm thinking, saying, because it's not pleasant. Just trying to remove a cable tie from that AC line that I put in, because as I've got to pull the harness one direction or another, that's in the way. Keep watching. I'm going to go and refresh my drink. Well, I hope you've been paying attention whilst I've been gone, because there will be questions at the end of class. What am I doing now? Yes. You don't know, do you? Neither do I. Oh, and of course, whilst I'm doing this, I had to be careful not to put too much pressure on that center dash because of the legend strip, for want of a better word, that's underneath. I don't want it to break. It presses up against the vent lever or anything else. And if you find this boring, well, that's a shame. I'm sorry about that, but do I care? Probably not. No, I'm not going to get into my political rant at the moment because that's not why you watch my videos, even though I do spout off at times, I know that. But that is the advantage of having your own video channel. Okay, now I'm starting on the other side, removing the clips, removing the connections, and believe me, some of those are really effing tight. No, they're really fucking tight is what I mean. I'm sorry, I don't do woke, I don't do politically correct. And if that offends you, I'm terrible. No, I'm not sorry, I don't give a shit. And that's another advantage of being old. You don't give a shit what anybody thinks. You're not trying to impress anybody. That is an advantage, actually, because I don't sit here and think, oh gosh, that could affect my next job, because there isn't a next job for me. My next job is pushing up the daisies. Yeah. Fun thoughts, huh? Anyway, let's hope I keep going. I want to get this Mark II finished. Get it back on the road and enjoy it. My wife and I have many plans as trips. Put the dogs in the back seat with a blanket and we'll go places in the Mark II. We'll have fun. We'll attend car events. That's in my mind. And on my bucket list, which may never ever happen, is to take it to Jay Leno. Yeah. Hey, you got to have dreams, haven't you? Got to have things on your bucket list. And I'm sure as hell Jay Leno doesn't watch my channel, nor any of his staff come to that. But that is something I would like to do. Oh yes, here I was using a very large pair of lineman pliers to undo what is probably a 4BA nut. I'm sitting in the car, as you can tell, and it's not easy getting in and out of the car without any seats. I'm sitting on a little footstool. Once I'm in, I'm in. So I try and make sure I've got everything with me that I need, screwdrivers, spanners, etc. And I forgot to bring a spanner in for that. So I had to use my lineman pliers. They did the job, but it's not something I would normally do. It's like I wouldn't use a screwdriver as a scraper or a chisel, and sometimes, well, you have to because you're stuck in whatever little hole you're stuck in. Note I didn't make a naughty comment then. Ah, yes. Got the other side out. Now it's coming to the point where I think, right, I now have to figure out which direction or how many more cables I have to disconnect on the inside of the car. I've got to get that bracket off that retains the cables. And I think the only reason they put that there is so that the cables don't get caught up by the vent lever, which is directly behind it there. So let's now struggle and get that bracket off and get those cables out of there. Such fun. Time for a little pause. Okay, just trying to get this damn bracket off. God knows how I put this all together in the first place. I must be cleverer than I think. I'm certainly a stubborn fuck, so I will never give in. Never give up, never surrender. And what movie is that from? Oh, with Zagoini Weaver's cleavage. Oh, always thought she was very sexy. Perhaps because she reminds me of one of my many ex-girlfriends. Damn, why are they all exes? Because I was young and stupid. Absolutely fine, old chap. Oops, sorry about that. Responding to Classic Car Cave Dave in Austria. We're going to chat in a little while. So there you go. There's a shout out. Classic Car Cave Dave. Well, it's Classic Car Cave is his channel, or his YouTube channel. Check him out. Lots of interesting car stuff. One of the best guys you will ever meet. But don't tell him I said that. Shoving my arm here in the rat's nest to try and figure out where the fuck these cables go. I gotta say, I really don't know how the hell I did this first time around. Obviously I did. Obviously I'm a stubborn prick. But how the hell did they do this in the... Well, no, I'll rephrase this. Yeah, in the factory, of course, the engine wasn't in, was it? So, they put all the wiring harness in and did all the connections before the engine was in. I don't have that luxury, and I sure as hell am not taking the engine out. Saying that, it might be easier to do that. Oh, fuck me sideways. All right, I'm not going to prattle anymore. I'm just going to let the video roll to the next moment. You may wish to fast forward, but maybe it's too late for that. Well, here I am, halfway through. Oh, God, what a mess. Oh, man, oh, man. And look at this crap down here. It's depressing, to say the least. Not that I'm a person that gets depressed or worry about shit. I don't give a fuck. But I just look at it and go, oh, Christ, really? I got to do all this. I got to get through that. I got to do this. I got to do that. And I think what's the biggest disappointment is that I was almost there. I was almost there. It was, I was just beginning to think, okay, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. I've got the AC mounted now. Looks like it's going to work. Just got to vacuum it down. Sorry, well, it wouldn't vacuum down, as you know. I've just got to, figure out where the leaks are, deal with them. Not a big problem. Something I can easily deal with. Oh, hopefully. And everything was looking good. And, then figure out the center console, figure out where the radio's going to go, and then start with the headlining and put the windows in. And, I was really beginning to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Now, and I think that's what's the biggest disappointment, is now that I've got to step back so much. And this is going to take days, maybe weeks, to sort out, repair, and put everything back to the stage I was at. And that's what's really frustrating. And that makes me want to scream, but as I said, I'm a person that says, oh, fuck it, and get on with it. And that's what I'll do. Frustrating, annoying, Yeah, I love a challenge, and this sure as hell's giving me one. Yeah. Silly mistake, but hey, it is what it is. Let's get on. Let's deal with it. That's what I'm going to do. Been here, done it, do it again. Gosh. Well, keeps me out of mischief, doesn't it? Ha! All right, move on. Okay. That was a struggle. That really was. And I'm nowhere near finished yet. Somehow I've got to get those wires back through into the engine bay, or I've got to disconnect everything in the engine bay and put it this way. I can't remember which way I did it now. Frustrating to say the least. Let me give it some thought. Get out in that garage. Go on. Go and do some shit.